Okay, good evening, everybody who has gathered here tonight. Today we have one of the Startup Lithuania cycle events, and this event is organized by Enterprise Lithuania together with Startup Lithuania. I would like to thank ISM for letting us use the space again, and this cycle has events once a month approximately. So stay tuned for our upcoming events. And also we have another cycle starting soon in December, which combines science and business, so stay tuned for those events as well. It's called Business Reactor. And today we have a very interesting topic, which is about forming a team. What should a really good startup team look like? And we have really nice experts here for you tonight. So maybe let's welcome the first one, Justas Janauskas, CEO of Vinted. He's going to tell you about company culture at Vinted. Let's go.
So this works. So many faces of you and interested to hear my short 20 minutes presentation about company culture at Vinted. The broad topic of today is like how to build a great team. I'm not an HR expert. We even at Vinted we have 0 HR people working for us. So I thought that it would be maybe more inspiring if I would just share some elements, sneak peeks of internals, how just general culture looks like at Vinted and why we believe, and which elements exactly from that culture we believe is very important, considering when you're attracting great talents to the company. At Vinted, we always aim to attract only the smartest people possible to find in the market. That's kind of our criteria. We should take top 2% of what is available, and we work really hard for that. And yeah, I'm very happy to share some thoughts which I think are crucial if you want to do that. So, how many of you don't know what is Vinted? Can you raise your hand? Yeah, there are some people. Very quickly, so Vinted is an app basically made out of 3 very important elements. So first, it's a marketplace for pre-loved clothing, where you can sell and buy your pre-loved clothing, like hoodie, whatever you want, and we make $12 million GMV per month, so that you could estimate what's the size. Using our app. I'll just give a few seconds for that slide just to imagine what's the growth of Vinted as a company since it was launched in 2008, so basically 6 years, and how we evaluated until the end of October. Those are 2 events very famous for investments we received, so you can see. And the chart itself represents basically the usage of monthly active users we have using apps. So it is working in 8 markets at the moment, so you can see them in the map. We started from Lithuania, and the last market we opened was United Kingdom. Very successful working over there. Yeah, and on Vinted, those who know what's the product or use the product, it's fine when you use the product every day and you see clothing items there, you can trade those, you can chat with people. But here, many people in the company, they ask, so what's the purpose of all what we are doing? What's the purpose of building a company? What's the purpose of having 130 employees? Over 6 offices, both in Europe and the United States. And we have an answer for ourselves. So we say that basically we are on the mission, and our mission is like to make second-hand as a first choice worldwide. And it's like maybe a very short sentence, but it has like very deep philosophy behind that. I'm not going to focus too much on this philosophy, but just give like very short 3 elements why would one should bother to make second-hand as a first choice worldwide. So why? So well, the first answer is that it is sustainable. What does it mean sustainable? I always think that here on our planet Earth we have so many things which are already produced, and we don't necessarily need to produce even more. We believe that each transaction which is made on Vinted, it leads to a fact that H&M or any other brand has to produce one dress less, and producing one dress less, you save thousands of liters of water and other natural resources on our planet. So, and we think it's very inspiring answer to why we should do that. The second point is that Vinted makes fashion accessible. There are like so many girls having so many very good quality items, clothing items in their wardrobes, and they are just literally locked there and not used. So Vinted is like circling all around those kind of unused assets or unassets, and they connect all the wardrobes into one app, and then stuff starts to move around and just basically makes fashion much more accessible. Vinted is not only you buy pre-loved clothing. When I say pre-loved, I mean once the item is out of the store, even though you didn't put it on yourself, we call it pre-loved already, right? So you can find lots of items with tags, with labels, or just slightly used, and for very good pricing. And it helps to make those non-assets into assets and makes fashion accessible. And the last point from our mission, why it's important to work for us, there is because we think it's all about connecting people. It's not e-commerce product where you buy something from the company. You buy from people like you, round kind of girl which is next door to your house. And we have so many kind of good feedback from people using the product and like making friends together, like chatting and having very great experience. And we see that really Vinted helps people, like connecting people together. And that's very inspiring for us as well to work for those 3 elements. So, and how is that all related to great talents? Well, so I think great talents are people having great minds. And once you have a great mind, so it's not enough for you to work just for money or for technology or something. You always want to contribute for something much bigger. You want to dedicate your heart and mind and your life for something you think is reasonable to dedicate your life. And that kind of people, great talents, so they usually look for inspiring things beyond what they can see around, and to choose where they really want to dedicate their time. And we think that our mission is one of the key elements which makes people willing to join our company. So we always promote that very much when in our interviews, our philosophy, our aims we stand for, and they are always very welcome to join our team and be a part of our mission. Talents, great people and great talents, they want to make a visible impact. When you work in a big corporation, sometimes you may think, oh, maybe I'm just a small cog in the system and I'm not able to make any impact. At Vinted we have like 130 people, and how can you make sure that you can make some kind of impact, right? So we have solved this problem by organizing the whole company into so-called autonomous teams. And autonomous teams is a small unit of very different expertise people, usually up to 7-8 people maximum, and they work on one specific problem by themselves, and they can do that. They can solve that problem totally, like themselves, independently from the other teams. I can give you an example of, like, let's say, for a rally team. The rally team solves the business problem, which is called, I have never heard of this, right? So this is a big problem that people have never heard of that. So they aim to improve the product so that more people would know about that. And they do that by improving sharing tools and making incentive for people to invite friends and so on. And they are having their own team. They have like back-end developer, they have iOS developer, front-end developer, Android developer, their product owner, analyst, and that's it. And that's one team, and they can fully focus on that mission they are working on and really make an impact to the stuff what they're doing. They are not dependent on other teams, waiting for someone to deliver something. They're just super autonomous, being a small team. I also believe that great talents want to be trusted very much. So that's why we try to avoid having corporate or very complicated policies inside the company. And we have some so-called common sense policies, and I would like to give you a few examples of what is common sense policy. So let's say an equipment. What does it mean, like equipment? How do you like buy equipment if you want? For example, I see that my computer is on, they want new ones. So we say, well, there is no rules for that. There are only two rules. First, use your common sense. If you believe you need to buy it, so it means yes, you have to buy it. And second, you have to announce it publicly in our communication kind of internal tool. So, and basically, I have to just say, yeah, I'm buying this in this computer, and that's it. That's our policy, how it works. The same goes with traveling. So if you need to go to a business trip or somewhere, you just announce that, and that's it. There is no formal approval process, but you have to be sure that everyone sees that and everyone can comment on what you're announcing publicly. Inspirational stuff is like, we have like 10% of your annual gross salary, you can spend it on whatever you want, which you think is inspiring you. It can be conferences, events, I don't know, some people go to work for 1 week abroad or whatever, and that's it. There is no control. You can do whatever you think inspires you, and just announce that and go, and that's it. Representation, basically like lunches with candidates or with business partners, so nothing, no control. Team building budget, so if you want to have team building, usually people have that every month, so they just go and that's it. And then they announce a picture from your team building, telling how much they spend the money, and that's it. So, other part is that I think that talents want to work only with the best people around them. It's very crucial because everyone wants to improve, everyone wants to grow, and you cannot grow if everyone around you is not smarter than you. So that's why we give full responsibility for teams or people themselves to hire their own colleagues. So we don't have like typical centralized recruiting process. So if any team says, oh, we need one more back-end developer, so they are in charge to find that developer. So of course, we provide tools. We have the candidate databases with all and recordings, who came, when, what's the next follow-up action. But that's all public, so everyone can use that. And our kind of typical process, which is like every team is free to decide how you want, but the guidance is that you have interview, we send the homework task. So if that is okay, and usually like only 15% of people succeed doing homework task. Then we invite for technical interview, that's fine, so then we invite person 2 days to come and to work on board, like on site in the company, with the team which is looking for that person. And if the team is happy and that person is happy to work with the team, because once you work with the team, it's almost like a family, you have to feel very well with the new person. And then the team makes a decision if the team wants to work with that person or not, and they make a decision about compensation they want to offer, and it's all like that. So basically, people recruit themselves. Yeah. The other thing, I think that great talents wants to manage themselves. They really don't want to. They don't like to be managed, right? So that's why all the teams, which I was speaking about already for a couple of minutes, so they are like mini startups, mini small companies inside big company Vintage, right? So, and they organize themselves as they want, basically. So they decide what kind of features they're going to build for next spring. Nobody interferes, and that's up to them to decide. And that's public. Then they decide what kind of meetings they are going to have. They decide where they are going to work and when they are going to work. Some teams start working very early, some teams start to work like very late, some even don't come to the office, and that's fine. If people are happy, so I think it's important for them to trust them very much and not manage, but allow them to manage themselves. The only thing I hear and we hear in the company is what kind of contribution they make for the company itself. So what's the value of it bringing to the company? What are the results which makes Vinted even greater? So, and these tiny details like when you come to the office or where do you work from or whatever, it's actually not so much important. So as long as the contribution goes on. People want to take part in other decisions or decisions which are made company-wide or by other teams, because when you care about many things, not only about what's happening inside your team. So that's why we have so-called high transparency in the company. I have already mentioned that many things are public, so actually there's super many things public, starting with like open financials, so every month a kind of P&L of the company, how much money we earn, spend, how much cash is left for from investment, how much we spend on salaries, how much we spend on marketing. So all that is announced publicly, and everyone can see, comment, and consider as they want. Like even board meeting materials, presentations, so they are public for everyone to use in the company. Instead of email communication, we use another communication, which is, you may think of kind of social network or a social network where basically you communicate there instead of email, and all the communication is public. And you can tag people like with Facebook, and you get notification who tagged you in which topic and so on. So basically, especially when you're a new person, you come to the company, you open our communication tool, you see lots of discussions going on, so you can always take your part over there. And many meetings happen actually online. We even encourage people not to kind of spend wasting time getting together, because meetings, they are what for? They are to make a decision or to solve a kind of problem. So announce that in publicly in our tool, and people will just comment, contribute, and the problem is going to be solved quickly. And decision making, many decisions which are made company-wide as well, they are made in public area, transparency. So whenever I was going to raise second round for Vinted, so there was special discussion place where people could contribute to my pitch or comment of what's going to happen next and so on, and whatever. Yeah, so to summarize all those elements, I think that there is no kind of silver bullet or answer how to attract great people. I think it's kind of just basically a combination of many things, like the culture of your company, mission your company is working for, values, how the things are made, in the company, what kind of people working over there. Of course, your financial compensation, what's your personal alignment, or what kind of personal challenges you can meet working inside the company. So I think all those things matters a lot, and we think about that very holistically, not only focusing on few of those elements, but really try to understand each of those when we meet or speak to the candidate. For us, it's very important, for example, like what kind of challenges person or potential person wants to make in life. If we are speaking with engineers, so we are very curious what kind of technologies he likes to work with and why, and can we offer anything at Vinted and see, and if there is a match, so that's great. And then values, what kind of values that person has in his mind, and if that's very aligned with what we have at Vinted, that's the second one, great. So and we are always looking for this holistic approach, and that's why I believe we have really great people working for us. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Justus from Vinted. It was very nice to hear about your company culture. And now for the second speaker, we have Monica Lukaite from Vix. you how to find and hire the smartest people for your team. So just stay tuned. In a minute, we're gonna prepare the slides, and then Monica will start.
How to hire the smartest people, but in general, how to do that? Yeah. Okay. I need help. Sleeping.
Not working.
No? Okay, we'll do this. It doesn't change. Okay. Just slow computer. So I'm not sure if you all are familiar what is waste. So in general, we launched the office last year in Vilnius. Our purpose is that we want, if the person wants to create a website, that they would use Wix tool. And as the same as, for example, the person wants to write Word, some letter in Word, so that they would use Word. If they want to create a presentation, they would use PowerPoint. So this is our global purpose. About the numbers, so we were the startup in 2006, but currently we're already having 55 million users globally in 180 countries, as you know. And we grown up about 1 million users per year, per month. It's amazing numbers. Globally, we are having 800 people, and I was hired, to tell the truth, to establish the office in Vilnius and to hire the best people here. Our headquarters are in Israel, and last year we had an IPO in New York Stock Exchange. So how is it about the numbers? But it's not about the numbers today. All the tips which I'm gonna tell is surely from my personal experience and from Wix experience, and it's surely not absolute truth. So you might think the opposite. So let's debate after that in the panel discussion. So this is the thing: how to build a team. And personally, I really believe that not the product is the company, but the team is the company, and it's important to have good team that you would be successful. When I met our shareholder Alishai, the first thing what he said, and I really believe in that if you bring a lot of smart people in one place, you will be surprised that you will reach amazing purpose, you will create amazing product without your own participation, and it's really a nice thing. That is my topic: how the smartest people we can find. In general, you can level up the people with A+, B, and so on. So we believe that A+ players will always try to hire other A+ players, and B players will always try to to look for the people who are weaker than they are, because A+ players, they intend to learn. They're looking for the people in the team who are really strong and they could learn from each other, that they could create a great product together, that would be a strong team. Meanwhile, the B players, they are a little bit like assholes, I would say, that they prefer to show off how they are smart and strong, and sometimes they prefer to have the weaker one, that they could show up that they are strong enough. So, about how to find the best people, we believe that smart people, you should look for the smart young people who intend to learn to, how to say, to educate themselves, and they don't stop. And meanwhile, the average employees with a long experience, they're not so good. Because like after a few months, while the person knows the product, they knows the company environment, and the young person who intends to learn, he will always be the person who wants to get better and better, and he will become the great. Just time solve the problem. And meanwhile, the average person, he will like say average. And this is like a problem. Like I don't know, not sure, it's by 70s or 60s, when Henry Ford told that everyone who stops learning, it's old, whatever, it's 20, 30, 40, 60. Meanwhile, anyone who keeps learning stays young. So this is really, we believe in. So hiring is the core. Well, how many of you think that what is the main manager task? What is the main manager doing at company? And most of them will say, oh yeah, going to the meetings, what else? Doing the budget, calculating something. But if it's startup and if it's company growing drastically and wants to create good project, so the core thing should be interviewing, finding right people. This is the core thing managers should focus. It's not that you are doing the budget and calculating something. It's not true. And actually, I would say that these things are even not taught in Harvard or Vilnius University. No, in non-management education, I don't know, in any university, in management courses, they don't say that hiring interviews is important. Personally, I haven't heard. Maybe something new change. And regarding what they said that, oh yes, we need a team yesterday. Doesn't matter if they need a team yesterday to launch something project quickly. You should focus that the team would be good. If you are in a hurry, you'll hire B-level plus, and it will happen as I told before. So it doesn't matter the urgency of the role. It's just you should focus on good level people. That's why in 1 year we have just 30 something people. And don't hire the people for the role. It was what, from my experience, in which I went. For example, at Wix, we are not looking the person who does, the developers. So we don't look the person who knows specific technology for a specific position. Because if the person, he knows how to learn and he's intent to smile so much. Like if the person is so much like he's tend to learn, he will adapt himself quickly. Actually, the role will change in time, and you will need to change a person. No, so for the person who is intent to change his technology and could learn.
Monica, I'm so sorry to disturb your presentation. We have some unexpected things going on. We have 4 cars who has blocked the entrance, and police is on their way. So, the numbers are EBZ 250, CCD 135, HD.
Coming back to the topic. So coming back to the topic that I'm telling that A-level people and like in general, how to find these people and how to reach the goal. Well, simple answer. Test everyone. I think all companies know this answer. Well, test developers, test designers, test even HR. And globally, we were amazed at how many developers came to the test and doesn't know any, like couldn't write any code line. And we were surprised that some designers couldn't use Photoshop. Well, it's strange, but it's true. It's happened. For example, for HR, we had, we had 30, 40 candidates for HR position. And for all of them, we asked to do interview of employee who is working at Wix, and to ask the person to make personal how to say, personal analysis of this, and we know that person, so it was very nice to compare how this HR candidate is seeing us, how he knows the culture. And actually, it was very interesting outcome. We hired the person who has less experience than others. This means that we hired not the person who had 20 years experience or 15 years experience, okay, but we hired the person who has 1 year and a half experience. And we are very happy. So, as I told, the personality test is also a test, and we hire an amazing HR person who knows the culture, who knows the company, what they're looking, then you will be successful. So about the recruitment process, so it's some kind of similar in all the companies, but we are having 5 steps. We are doing technical test, then technical interview, then most of the cases we have meeting or in Skype call with managers ways, and then there's HR interview, and shortly the last step is offer. Well, it's like these steps, which is not so common in Lithuania, because we figure out that lots of people are like confused with having so many steps and so on. Well, we believe in this, and every step shows the different side of personality. So that's we are using it. Oh, it's a very nice thing. So we believe that like happy employees are much better. And it's a very difficult question. Oh yeah, how to make them happy? So simple. Just hire people who are happy from themselves. You will not change the people. You will not, how to say, if you are very strict or if you are crazy, then hard to press people, but you will not change them in general. And well, to make them happy as well, what we believe is the person feels happy when he or she achieves hard things. So let them to do hard things. Let's them challenge. And about the challenges and motivation, what we believe that salary in general, the raise of the salary doesn't motivate the person for the long term. Like in a few months, the person forget about the raise because his expenditures increase. He gets used to that and forget about it. So what we believe, like interesting projects, challenges at work, give the ownership of the product, because like more or less as well we are having the teams. The team is taking ownership of the product, and there is no team leads. So it's like this is a challenge for them, and surely strong team and ability to learn, which is as well one of the key things for motivation. So about the motivation as well, like for example, what we did, create an opportunity for every employee to become constantly learning new things. So at weeks we are having 1 week per day for field day. This day is for self-training and as well coaching each other. It doesn't mean that it must be only for coding. It might be even for public speaking, for example. This example comes first thing. It can be even for like writing a blog or reading some blogs. It can be every type of coaching. So it means that we are working 4 days and 1 day we are learning. But as well, one more thing which is important, every person is different and every person is having different motivation to be at work. So when you are doing interview, you should understand the person's motivation and keep this in mind while the person is working, because anyways, like time going, the person need to follow up what's going on. And the last thing is building a culture. So we believe that if you are doing branding and like some, I don't know, banner in some portal, will not make your company brand. Only people and inside the culture will make a company brand. So do it naturally. You will not buy, if you buy, as I told, some kind of banner and you see it as the greatest place to work, so it will not. So do it inside, do it from your heart. So that is it. Questions will be in the panel discussion.
Yes, there are still a few minutes, a couple of minutes, if anybody has a question.
Oh, so you have a few minutes, I can show you how we are working on it. It's half minute.
Right.
If it's have the sound.
This is so...
No, it doesn't have the sound.
That's
Why did we come here? Go for it. We'll pretend that we're not in the video.
He doesn't have the sound.
Oh.
Yes?
We're really quiet, we can hear it.
You have the shooter in the first row, red jacket.
So,
And if you want to work like that, then you can follow her advice and maybe have to do like that. Okay, and the last speaker for today, we have Jurgita Remešutė, and she's the managing partner of People Link. She is going to tell you how to attract and select the top talent people for your startup. And after her presentation, we will have the beginning of the discussion. So just stay tuned. And now,
nice to see that many people that are interested in team building and recruiting the best people. I remember when I started quite a few years ago my career in recruitment. I remember all the managers being so big fuss about the finance, the strategy, the business planning, and more managers are looking into how to find the best people, and I guess my colleagues before said the same. So I will go through a more practical steps that can help every one of you to create a job advertisement, to attract the best people that you want to attract, to how to point to the right direction and so on. But can I ask how many of you have already hired people for your team and went through all this recruitment process already? Can you raise your hands?
Raise your hand.
Oh, so about 50, okay. So I hope you will learn something new. So to start with, what is very important to think of when you start the recruitment process and when you have already the position to fill, it's to think about what is the market situation for that kind of people at the moment, in the country or in the region and so on. So do we have a talent surplus strategy, talent surplus situation, when we have a lot of people that are standing behind your door, as many managers think? Or do we have a talent scarcity situation? And that really should, based on that, you should decide what strategy to choose and how to approach the people, how to prepare for your for the whole process. So for talent surplus strategy, when we have a lot of candidates in the market, let's say we talk about, I don't know, the office administrator position or an accountant position that you would regularly receive a lot of applications just by posting the job advertisements. So the standard advertisement works, and actually it reaches only 17% of the potential candidates. So what is very important to realize when you're looking for people and you're posting an advertisement anywhere in the internet, you cannot expect that the people that apply are the market situation. They are only the 17% of the people in average that actually going through the job advertisements and so on. So it does help for easy positions, and that would Sometimes managers say that, our clients say that, there's no good enough employees in Lithuania. And then we say, why do you think so? And they say, well, we posted an ad and we only received 1 or 2 good candidates. That means that the situation is very bad, right? But what they don't realize that they only select the best out of the people that apply. Yeah, so they just eliminating the worst candidates from the applicants. So what is the talent scarcity strategy, or what would be the best strategy to work is actively approaching the candidates, and we call them passive candidates. So they might be people who are not looking for a job, but they might have a thought at the back of their head that they maybe would be ready for some challenges and then so on. So that kind of people usually don't browse the job advertisement. So it's very important to prepare the strategy right, so you can reach them and you can target them properly. And what really helps, and the word that we use a lot, is the EVP, and it's so-called employer value proposition. How many of you have heard of that? Nice. So it's like we always say that, and I guess that what was mentioned by Justas and Monica is what the company has to offer, what the person, why the person would have to join your team. So what is very important to start with, and what we always tell our clients to start it, is what we want, what kind of people we want. What answer do we always hear? And I guess 99% of the answer would be that we want the top half of the top half people, right? So this is all what Justas said and Monica said, that everybody wants this 25% of the best, right? So we don't want the people who are not successful, we don't want the people who are averagely successful, we always want the people who are the best, and we call them achievers or talents or any name you name it. What's the problem then? If we know what we want, then of course maybe it's not that bad, but 100% of the companies want those 25%, right? So what we face today in the market, and especially in IT markets and some tech companies, that those 25% of the people are the most wanted, and then you have to compete not only with your product, not only with the prices, with your competitors in the market and business, but you compete with other employers as well. That means that your value proposition has to be better, or maybe not better, but better targeted to the people that you want. And this 25%, I only say roughly, right? This is only a model. Justas mentioned the 2%. Again?
I'm so sorry to again disturb you. The police is here now. 2 other cars, CEB 421 and BMW GEH 325.
So we, what is very important is to define what is the perfect candidate for you, and then we can go through what the perfect candidate wants. And of course, people who look for a job or not looking for a job, but most of them work, what we see and what we hear when we speak with the candidates, the top people, they're not interested in lateral transfers. So they wouldn't just change a job for the same position, for the same kind of product, for even if it's a higher salary, they just wouldn't do that. Because they're successful at what they do, and they're usually valued by their company. So what they would move for, they would move if it was a career move, if it was more interesting, if it was something greater. And that's why a lot of companies really over-rely on job descriptions, because what most of the companies do, they would just put that you have to do this and that, you have to have these and these skills, and then we hire you, right? But what they don't realize is that it's just and they usually require the same kind of experience of people that to do the same kind of job, yeah? So I really agree with Monica when she said that sometimes the best people may not have the same kind of experience, but they might have the talent. And I'll speak a little bit later about how to evaluate that. Of course, we have to ask why would this top person in the market would want the job you're offering. And usually those motivators, as we separate them, can be internal or external, and then internal would be they would want to learn, do, and become someone, right? And then external, what impact can they make on the company, on the customer, on the society? And I guess Justus just gave us a very nice case on that, how this can be put as in a proposal. That you're not coming to write a code for an e-commerce platform. You're literally coming to change the world and to make people use the pre-loved things and so on. Yeah, so that is the difference. What is important as well is like naming the position, or even putting all these sentences in the job offer. It's like using the same keywords that this person would use, right? It's, I'm sure a lot about all of you know the SEO stuff, like how to put the keywords and so on. And what the circle of the person, and is the candidate active or passive, and so on. So how to do all this, how to practically do this is like, usually we would start with the job description, and then what is very important is to realize what is the success factor and what this person has to do to achieve those things. And this is how you get to the EVP as what the person gets, what he becomes in the long term, right? So usually we start from the job description, and then only when people start to work for us, we try to explain to them what they can do and so on, and then maybe this person can realize in the meanwhile what does he get from the company. What we're saying is best. It's like, don't use the job descriptions. Use the performance profile and the EVP as the job description doesn't really take you anywhere. So if you would tell this person, and I would say we have to start with the EVP. So you can say you can state in your job offer that, for example, we're looking for somebody who wants to become a part of this team that changes the world and so on, yeah? And then what this person has to do. So if you're able to build a team or finish this project or analyze the market and give some useful insights for the team, yeah? And then of course we can mention we would wish that you have a 3 years experience in maybe developing or something like that. But even if you don't and you think you can do that, then come and talk to us and we'll see, yeah? So always start with the EVP, the value proposition for the person, then what the person has to do, and only then what the person has to have. And in this we can really challenge the people, we can engage the top talents that are really interested in something more, something bigger, challenging. And companies really face some problems sometimes when we ask them. We say, what's the value for the candidate to work for your company? Sometimes they cannot even answer these questions for themselves. But that really, put your team together, speak about that with your team, and I'm sure you will come up with some things. So when giving the offer to the candidate, either as an ad or as an email or as a phone call, start with the future, then talk about the present, and only last about the past. And just very briefly, how we select the candidates. We use this formula when you have all the top people in the room, what to pay attention to. And these are some core competences that really matters for any position, either if you talk about the secretary or you talk about the general manager. So the talent is the technical skills, the literal competences that help person to do the job that you're looking for. So if it's HR, then HR processes, if it's marketing, so marketing or creativity and so on. Management is the core ability to organize yourself, right? There are people who organize and there are people who are not organized, yeah? So it's very important meeting the deadlines and so on. Team, how the person deals with the team and what is his thinking potential or analytical thinking, and there's a lot of tools for that. Of course, person has to match the company culture, the management, and the most important thing is motivation. The more person wants the job, the better the person will be in the job. And it's very thinking that the motivation is not important causes the biggest troubles in the companies, because they would want the top people, but they're not so sure if they would like the job or not, and then the problems come. So I will just jump to the finalization of some tips and tricks that I already said, but so just remember not to use the wrong strategy for finding the right people, right? If we have and the circle strategy will not work in the scarcity situation, so that's very important to understand. Understand your candidates, what they want, yeah? Turn your job into a career. Don't offer people jobs, offer them a career, offer them an opportunity to put an impact on something. And of course, use the communication channels actively, because if the best people can't see your ads, it doesn't matter what you're offering. It doesn't matter at all. So don't rely on just job portals or anything. Use all your network, your employees, your friends, LinkedIn, Facebook, everything. Yeah? And don't forget the candidate experience. And this is the very last note. A lot of companies do. They would run 50 people through recruitment process and wouldn't even give them a feedback on how they succeeded. And then what happens? Like after 2 years, we come again to approach the same people for the same company, because the Lithuanian market is very small, as we all know. And they say, no, I wasted 3-4 hours 2 years ago on this company, and they wouldn't even give me a feedback. And I will not go and meet the company again. So this is very important. So your employer brand, your reputation in the market is good, and you're wanted as an employer. So I guess that's it for now.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. And now, after the third presentation, my lovely assistants will help me with the chairs for the discussion. And for the discussion, we have our speakers from before, Justas and Monica, and also we have Arvidas Loja from startuoliams. Applause. We have Alan Mendelevich from Duplex, and we have Bernardas Monkūnas from Think Toolkit. Where are you? Oh, you're hiding. Okay, there they are. And yes. Okay, so please take a chair. this is Jurgita, and we hope to cover many important questions about the topic for today's event. And you are welcome to ask questions as well. So if you have any questions prepared, please don't hesitate and just ask. We're going to have this microphone for all of you. Sorry for the inconvenience, but so just I'm going to hand the microphone now to Mr. Arvidas, and just please begin the discussion. Good luck.
We all hope you pass.
Okay, so thank you very much for joining, and I guess first of all, it would be very interesting to hear your thoughts on the topic that we spoke today about how to attract and have the best talents in the team, as we didn't have a chance to do the presentation. So just maybe some thoughts on what you saw and.
It's working. Okay. First of all, good evening, everyone. I'm Arvidas, representing Startup team, which is a part of Practical Capital. We are accelerator, and Practical Capital accelerating the teams in a specific stage of growth, meaning from incubation or a stage where they have MVP and product fit. So we are dealing with startup teams, and we are building them every day. At the moment, we have 5 startups that are being accelerated, and this is a very important and crucial problem actually we face every day. But we do believe that startup is something related to very extreme uncertainty, and also it's a human institution, so people play a crucial role. And we try to explain our startups not to hire based on past experience that much as on what people can actually do, and at the same time we advise them not to make unilateral decisions or decisions based by founder or anyone else, but kind of make it as a team decision, because working hours are not really defined, and you know, you have to have a very reliable partner to build a thriving company or a system or a product. And you have to know when things go wrong that you can rely on your partners. So it's very important. And we also work with people Link a lot, so they're helping us in that sense as well. So that will be very short for me.
Okay, thank you. And then if you could pass on.
Yeah, hi, my name is Alan. I'm founder and CEO of Duplex, and I'm probably the least qualified person to be on this panel. But since our team has grown from 2, a little bit more than a year ago, to 12 now, I guess I have some insights to share. In general, what I think is different and maybe more important for many of you is, you know, being in that stage when you are just 1 or 2 people and going to that next step. When you get to like 100 people level, maybe there are more qualified and professional people who should do that. But when you are just starting up, I think it's basically you don't have other choice than to do it yourself. And yes, so I guess I have something to share there. And my main thing that I think I've noticed is that basically you are building a team around yourself, and you can say a lot of nice things that you have to create a fun environment for everyone, blah blah blah. But basically, I'm a boring person, to be honest. So if someone shoots me with an arrow at work, I will not be happy. So I want to surround myself with people who are more or less. I'm not a sad person. I'm not a depressed person, but I want to work with people who are mostly, of the same mindset as I am. So I think that's also a very important topic. And people who are hired to build a team, they usually like address it as creating a fun environment. But believe me, there are a lot of people who also don't enjoy being shot by arrow in the office, and you can build. If you are that person, you can find other people who are like that, and it's not necessarily that everything should be fun, colorful, etc.
Hello, I suppose I'm the last one here. So my name is Bernie, and I would disagree with you about being the least competent person here. So Right, so our company is actually very young. This is where you were probably half a year ago or so. And basically we're experiencing the problems, the very first problems of hiring the first people from the team and just getting everybody on board and arranging everything day-to-day work just from the very beginning. So I suppose we are going to provide a little bit of different perspective here.
Okay. So could you maybe start with, I hear a lot of word about problem and hard to find talents, and it's very, it's everywhere, yeah, that it's hard to find people, but let's share some positive maybe insights today, and then maybe if you could tell us about the most successful trick or tip or a situation where you managed to get the best person on board and why. Yeah, the panelists didn't have the questions in advance, so it's all...
Yeah, I can tell. I told a little bit how we do that in our company. Most of the people who come to Vinted are basically somehow connected to you already. Those who work in the company, so basically we just unleash the network effect. We have like public database inside the company with all the candidates. You know, we spoke or willing to speak. You know, if I find someone adds me on LinkedIn, well, I don't know, I see that he's engineer or something, and then I just post to our kind of internal system and say, hey, this guy added me. Does anyone can have any feedback about him or her? And then just developers say, oh yeah, I work with him. Like I heard this, I know this, and yeah, he's a nice guy. And so, okay, let's try to, I don't know, invite him for an interview to learn more about what he wants, what kind of stage of life he is, what he's looking for, and so on. And maybe he doesn't want to, I don't know. So basically we just kind of crowdsource everything to the people, and most of the experience you have coming to Vinted is like mostly because your friends is working here already. Like, yeah, sometimes, yeah, that's one part. And now what we started to do, so since we already have all the best friends, so we just compile very nice ads and share on Facebook and ask everyone, hey guys, can you just share that? And maybe I hope many of you have seen already like some ads on Facebook. We are looking for copywriter or BI analyst, and very successful. Like once, I don't know, like last one had like such a huge amount of like applications. So yeah, and then we just interview them. And yeah, team does all the work, so basically. Since the team cares most with who they are going to work, they really do a great job to choose what they really want to work with. So that's why we don't have any evaluation forums or nothing. Just choose and that's it.
But I have a question for you while you're doing your presentation. Do you have any performance management system, or how do you manage the team's performance? Because you can see that they have a lot of responsibility and so on, and what about the results?
Yeah, the results everyone presents if they have something to present every 2 weeks. And
If they have.
you know, they have 5 minutes of presenting, and then everyone sees what it does. And you know, when team doesn't present anything for, I don't know, 3 times in a row, you know, you just go and speak to them, but you know, we don't have problems that or slacking, like everyone really just does the best they can. And valuation process, well, at the moment we don't have valuation process, but we are making an experiment at the moment. Like we are thinking about making kind of open salary project inside, meaning that everyone would know how much everyone earns, and whenever you want to, you know, review your salary, so basically what you would do, you would propose by yourself how much you think you have to earn, and if your colleague says yeah, so that's correct. So because everyone knows how much everyone earns, why not? So then that's fair. So this kind of experiment we are kind of trying to make at the moment, but until now we had this process which I call shurum burum. So we just speak to someone. Sometimes people speak to me. I don't know, someone to someone. And they have to find to whom they speak because we don't have, you know, this hierarchy structure. It's big problem with sometimes to whom should I speak about my salary. Yeah, and then I don't know, we speak, we say something, so fine, if that's reasonable, usually, I mean, always reasonable, and that's okay. So, no, we don't have.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe others want to say something.
Yeah, still, if you have to share some success stories on finding the best people.
Yeah, so basically, as a small company, usually you don't have the luxury of, you know, offering a huge salary or offering being a part of something huge as Winter. But we, for example, for us, we can offer being a big part of maybe something small, but a really huge part of it. So usually that what sells it in the end, because you know you can be working on a nice technology in a big company with, you know, very big project. When you come work for us, you can change everything we do. Basically, you can have that impact if you are really good and smart and you have the ideas that you manage to convince us that are better than what we are doing now. It's totally possible for that. That's what we do.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe I could simply share one story, a very recent story that we had incubated project. The idea was done by one lady, and she left, and we had simply an idea in the company, and we were looking for a business developer or whatever that could take it from 0 to 1 in a short period of time, of course. And we interviewed one candidate that really pitched the kind of reality that it's just an idea, you have to bring it, you know, you have to work very hard, assemble the team and whatnot. And we were not saying that you will be solving like the most challenging problems of working with the best team, because there was none, of course. And at the end of the interview, I just simply asked, on a scale 1 to 10, how would you rate your luck? And then the lady said 9. And you know, I kind of assumed that she recognized the opportunity, and we just said, yeah, go welcome him on board, and she's doing a very good job so far.
Okay.
Well, I would say that all most successful ones that actually friends bring friend. And when one person, strong person joined, and after that person joined, the other strong person. So it's like a, how to say, yeah, it's actually friends bring friend. And I would say that this is the most successful. We still have the list of friends. We still want to run away. So when it will be done, and lack of that, so we'll think what to do next.
Okay, thank you. Bernie, do you have
I suppose the final note here, I totally agree with the point about friends being friends. Actually, your own friends are actually normally enough, more than enough. So, from our practice, it's best just to ask around. And as a young company, you don't really need that many people. And in that case, you can actually find some people who are really great. And there's an additional thing about hiring somebody who is your friend or somebody really close to you, because this person will feel a personal obligation to perform, to actually show great results. And just because this person wants to impress you or wants to impress the person who is recommending him or her.
Okay, so I see that most of the analysts wouldn't agree with the idea that don't mix business and friends. Yeah, it's the opposite.
I would mix as much as possible.
Can I comment on that? So basically, what we had, even that we are a small team, but we had a situation. It wasn't something big, but when, you know, not everyone is friend with everyone. It's not like you bring all one you know, group of people who hang out together. It's like someone's friend and then his friend.
Okay.
And these people basically were sticking together mostly and not talking to other people. It wasn't that bad as I'm describing it now, but still there is it becomes that there are like fractions inside the company, even a small company. And you know, if you grow like rapidly, maybe it's not that visible. But when you know just add one person, and then you see that the other person talks more to that one person, doesn't talk to anyone else, it's not that good.
Okay. Okay, and we all speak about how important that the team was happy, and the happy employer is a good employer. So, do you do you measure employee satisfaction, and how do you keep the people happy at workplace, happy and motivated? If everybody could share again, if they have any things. Yeah, yes.
I already told how we encourage people to be happy, so I'm not going to speak on this, but what we do, we sometimes run a survey which is asking one question. Are you happy at Vinted? And 2 options, yes, no.
Okay.
So last time we had, so it was 100% yes. Last time, one before, it was 95%, so that was maybe 5 months ago.
But is that like a confidential survey, or is it like, do the person has to say that he's happy, or?
And he has to participate and say yes or no.
Okay.
It's not, I mean, it's public, everyone sees.
Okay.
What we did, actually, after 3 or 2 months, we always ask the person what we can do for you to make you more happy. One thing.
Okay, that's.
It's something very strange answers are coming. For example, I want a more comfortable chair, or for example, different screen. But that's people are making happy.
Okay. But don't you think it can be dangerous if this person asks for like a private jet or something? What do you do then?
Well, everything has to have common sense. Doesn't mean that you buy a private jet, but more or less it's like the most funny thing that sometimes they ask, for example, I want to switch the, I don't know, computer. It's a simple thing we can do. It's not something rare.
Okay.
To be honest, we don't do anything special about it, but what we try to do, I hope that we have such an atmosphere that anyone can come to me and say, well, whatever is wrong at the moment, so.
Okay, so it's just an open culture that.
From the startups that we are accelerating, I've seen that happiness is a part of culture, and also founders are very much responsible for the happiness. And we as the investor or mentor are trying to involve the community, first of all, to kind of relate and share the ideas and grab a beer if we see that the mood is going down, or we kind of rally them up if they want to achieve some major milestone in their development. But in general, it's up to the team, as we've seen, to monitor happiness, and you know, when you're successful, you're happy, and once the company is developed further, have a larger number of employees, it's probably a task to be put on something that can be monitored. In a startup with 3 people, you know, happiness is just a common goal that they try to achieve. Yeah.
I couldn't agree again with everybody who was mentioning how important happiness is, and in fact it's really, really tricky to track it as well. It really depends on the size of your company, but coming from a really tiny one, you really have to just concentrate on non-formal measures. Basically, you have to concentrate on talking with people and trying to understand how they feel, and it's really tricky actually. You always have to think about yourself as well, so it's not only about the entire team, but it's not only the people who are in the team below the level, but also the entire team. So it's a very tricky task normally, but also very important naturally.
Okay. And talking about not so maybe pleasurous things, is like how do you decide when it's a time to let the person go? I'm sure everybody had the situations when somebody doesn't succeed, and then how do you decide when it's already?
Well, we probably propagate the system of yellow card and red card, but normally what happens is actually the only time that it had to happen, that the person after a yellow card said, all right, I probably need some vacation, I'm probably going to leave myself for some time. So it was also just trying to maintain the good relationship with the person.
So what, the colleagues give a yellow card to somebody, or how does it work?
In our case, it wasn't the colleagues would give the yellow card. We just realized that the performance was really unacceptable, and we basically had to talk with this person and said, well, we don't really like what you're doing, and if this continues, we'll have to do something about that. So the person said, well, probably it's not necessary, I want to leave them.
Okay.
So in our case, since team has responsibility to hire the person, so they have responsibility to fire as well. So we try to hire like so well basically that it's very rare that we have to let someone go. But when there is a need to do that, I'm even not aware of that. It just team has personally such a big kind of moral pressure on the person they hired, and just goes automatically very quickly. So kind of autonomically without any intervention. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think we are too young to tell the truth in Lithuania, like week's office, because we didn't have any person who would like to leave during the 1 year. So I would say we are happy with this. We had one case when the person didn't manage to do well in the trial period of 3 months. But to tell the truth, for me it was the hardest decision. Like not me was the decision. I would have the person to talk to him about that. But for that night before this talk, I couldn't sleep. So, but yeah, it was the team decision. And like they came and said, okay, the trial period doesn't go well, so we need to do something.
Okay.
Luckily, I had to only do it once so far. It was also during the trial period, and so I wasn't happy with the performance, and then something happened that put it over the top, and basically the person realized that that was a big, how do you put it, screw up, and basically we parted ways. I think we're on good terms still, but as I said, luckily I hadn't have to do it in hard way so far, and hopefully we'll never have to. One can only dream.
So yeah, a startup is also a managerial system in a way. So everyone has a role. There should be no territorial disputes, but they assign a role, right? And the very first thing to do in a startup is kind of get on the same page and understanding that ownership is not immunity, or your role. The company can sometimes outgrow you, and you won't be needed anymore in the company. And of course, no one's going to fire you just because you're not needed or something like that. But in a way, it's a management system, and everyone has to do their job and to be perfectly aligned with the interests of the company and who wants. So it's very natural process within the company. Of course, sometimes tears are shed and whatnot, but yeah, it's only for the better.
So did you have to fire somebody yet, or?
Yeah, I had to fire already in my short experience in Accelerator, but not from the startups, but from my own Accelerator. It's not very exciting to do that, but so when you're hiring, you're based on team decisions, right? And I heard Bernie has the scorecard system, but usually a CEO or a founder has to talk with the team and explain. So therefore, I say that it's really important from the first day, kind of, to say that we are here to achieve a specific goal. We are not immune. We are, have investors. We have KPIs to track. It's not like a movie where it's all like commonly depicted in the public media or on television or movies, that you have a great idea, then fast forward and you have a big exit, right? And you live very happily. So in that fast forward period of time, there are a lot of things happening, and you of course saw the movie Facebook, and you see that friends get in arguments and all these issues and whatnot. So it's not a very nice picture, but it's a part of the startup.
Okay. And then maybe to talk, to sum up a little bit, it's everybody says the organizational culture is very important. Yeah, and what is the organizational culture? The traditions, the atmosphere, and so on. Do you do something on purpose to build the company culture, and how do you do it? Yeah, we can start this way.
So I think our culture is that we don't have any defined culture, and basically we don't do anything specific. We do some, go somewhere together, blah blah blah, but we don't define it as here is our culture, here are our values, etc. I think so far as every hire goes through me, basically I do the culture check before I hire someone, and the only times when I did the shortcuts, because I was very impressed this person wanting to work for us instead of us trying to pursue them to join us. Then basically it fails on the culture level. But if you have a small team and you talk to every person before you hire them, it usually comes out pretty much aligned on the culture level, unless you're not focusing on it during the interviews. So, yes. Nothing special to share here.
I would say as well, I don't have nothing special to share here. Well, when Wix opened, we already were like 400 or 500 people globally, so we had a culture in general. And when we launched the office, we had we have an example how our other offices were working. But I would say we haven't followed up. We more or less graded ourselves. We took the examples what they're doing, what fits for Lithuania more or less. And now we are already like more or less bigger teams, so it comes very natural. Like even this happy hours is not anymore. I'm not calling guys, let's on Friday, let's do something. They're coming and say, oh yeah, we want to, let's go out. So as it shouldn't be pushed from management. Surely it should come from down to top. .NET. Actually, we don't have management.
Yeah, I agree that culture is something people actually create. It's not the management or me creates by making something, organizing. Not at all. So if you want people to do something, so give more freedom, less control, more trust. Embrace doing crazy stuff, and just let them do their stuff and don't intervene. And it will come automatically. I think that, as I said, there are like 130 people. Everyone's so different. I don't believe in universalism. Like you can make something universal for all. Everyone is different. Teams are different, and so on. So we, just say you have your team. You do whatever you want. You show great stuff, and other people, other teams can be inspired and follow you. And that's it. So that's how we work.
And once again, I agree totally. In my opinion, the key idea here is actually to make a culture that is actually fostering for everybody. That nobody feels excluded, nobody feels outside, everybody has to feel highly involved in the company and highly motivated in this way. Luckily enough, in our case, the vast majority of our people have been previously friends, therefore we are actually friends beyond the company, and we were friends before the company. So it's very, very easy to create a culture and maintain it. And the new people who are coming in, they are most likely somebody from close circles and so on, ergo quite similar people as well, which might be a drawback in the end, because we might generate a very, very, let's say, one-sided culture. But that's an issue for the future as well.
Well, Arvi does have this ideas about that.
Thank you
Did you
for
have
remembering. Usually I don't, but it can help somehow. So culture is an integral part of people. You cannot force culture on people, and you cannot do other way around as well. And culture cannot be separated from the people in the organization. So it all comes down to, in a small startup, it all comes down to the founders. They're kind of how they can convey their idea of a startup, and how can they convey it that we need to have fun in the process. And a lot of talented people, they have a luxury to choose. So a lot of them wants to bring their pet, or that would be something nice to them, right? And a lot of them can work in so many different companies that are solving so many different challenges. So you have to be able as a founder to attract the talent, and in that sense you have to have culture, inner culture that you can project on other people, and you can rally everyone around you, and kind of, you cannot say, today we eat cake, and one person shows up and, where's the cake, here it is, but the other 20 are not, they would rather go home, So it's something you cannot force, and it's something you have to build, and something you have to cherish, and something that is so important, because usually startups, they don't have so much cash to burn on salary, so they have to compensate in another way. Equity is cheap to give in the beginning, so it's also not that motivating. And so just as a founder, you have to think about it, and it cannot be forced from investor or from any other or just because it's written in the textbook, or the internet is doing so nice with the culture. Yeah.
And then what would be your advice for new businesses, for people here who are still going to build their dream teams? What would be your main message that you would like to give?
So I can say pretty clearly, so when you're trying to found a team of successful people, first of all, sell your vision and make sure that they are aligned with the vision. Not try to sell the perks that comes with the job, like I'll give you so much equity, we'll be so rich, or we'll be solving such an amazing problem that will have impact on everyone in the next 10 years or so. So basically try them to believe in you as a founder, in the long-term vision, and try to make it collective decision, because it's so important that everyone would be working as a team. First of all, they don't necessarily have to be friends, and I'm very much in line with what Alan was saying, but they have to be aligned, and in that way they have to be in the same boat with you, rowing together to the common purpose. So they have not to be motivated by cash, by some kind of perk. So they would be with you, together with you at the very sad days as well as the bright days. They would not jump out of your boat for offer 20% more of fixed salary in another company. So yeah, think about that. And even in the shallow market, as Lithuania, as I think we've touched upon that, there is so much talent, and there is so much talent abroad. So they also want to come back to Lithuania, and we see that trend reversing, kind of smart people coming back to Lithuania. So yeah, I think that you have so much to offer. You have so much to offer compared to the corporate world as well, because it's innovative, dynamic, and whatnot, and just sell your vision.
I think when you look for a co-founder or try to hire your first person, I honestly do not agree that you should necessarily for the A player in terms of skills or something like that. You would much better be with a B player who is in terms of skills only, but who is very motivated and who is aligned with you on a cultural level. So when I went to look for a co-founder, I failed miserably because I'm probably the oldest here, and people I know personally are of my age, have 3 kids, and say screw you with your startup. I need a steady salary of at least 10,000 liters, or I cannot live, etc. So basically, when I failed, I decided that I need then to go to plan B and hire someone. And basically, I had 3 candidates, and I've hired who looked like at that time with least experience. And maybe so I couldn't know it from one to 2 interviews, but I felt that this is the right guy, and I'm so happy with that decision at that point. That I would probably, if I had to set milestones in our life, I would make it a big milestone when I hired the guy with my first employee. So what I want to say is go for what's the saying? Culture is something for breakfast, strategy for breakfast or something like that. So go with cultural fit rather than A-class technical skills or something like that.
Regarding A people, by the way, I was telling that not that from the experience side they should be A-level, it should be A-level from their motivation to learn. So yeah, so what I add to them, that hire the people who are really intent to learn. Because in time they will become great and the best, they will jump over the experience in, a few months. So this is the biggest advice I have.
Yeah, I can just agree with what Monica says and just encourage you to not look so much at CV or skills, but more into, as you say, shining eyes of the person. That's super, super important when you're looking for first people joining your company, and not the first.
Right, I couldn't agree more. So, the main point being is that if you're looking for the A talent, the class A, the person who is Google-like and so on, the person who is corporation, whose life is corporation and so on, you're probably going to miss out here. You actually, what you have to be looking for is somebody who is mental. You have to be mental yourself to start a company, and you have to look for somebody who's like you, somebody who's happy to work for. I know how many hours to come back home at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock on every day, and just keep on working from home, just because the internet here is not very good sometimes. So you just have to be looking for somebody like that, somebody who is not working there for the money, for nothing else, just for the somebody who actually manages to, who maybe is mental enough not to see the problems that are probably going to arise, but just to see the vision and the beauty of it in the future. And surprisingly enough, there are quite a few people like that. And people actually who are coming from top-tier companies, such as, for example, Google and so on. Sometimes you start talking to them and they say, yeah, well, my job is really fun, and so on. It kind of gets boring for them, eventually, and they say, you know what, I would really love to do something like you guys are doing, joining you, and it's a shame that you're not doing cloud solution, for example. So that's the key here, is that many people actually are looking forward to do something like that. Many people from top-tier foreign companies would not imagine.
Okay, thank you. And then we have some time for a few questions from you guys. So be brave, and you have a great chance to find out something that interests you. Yes? Guess we can pass the.
It's okay, I speak louder, so. Yeah, I have one general question. First of all, thank you very much for this presentation. It was very interesting. My question, like a general one, is what biggest challenge you see in your companies related to people? And if the answer would be like to find good people, then maybe you might tell a little bit more detail what exactly. I mean, is it that it's difficult to hire them or what? But maybe you have some other challenges there. And maybe some specific questions to you, Stas. My question is this: that how you see it? Isn't it? It's interesting to me. Isn't it difficult to steer such type of company as yours, having in mind that it's very liberal, very like self-independent in the teams and etc. How do you give the direction? How you agree on that? Because I assume still there are people who are good at visioning, strategy, all those things. Obviously, maybe we go in some coding and maybe not so 10 years in perspective, seeing the future as probably there are some guys in your company. And and the last one is that your company was already quite old one, like 6 years, and at the beginning, that's kind of anti-shy question, kind of so but maybe still. At the beginning, your growth was quite modest. How do you see it? Was it related to some challenges related with talents, hiring, or it's absolutely different reasons? Thank you.
So first question was what kind of challenges regarding the teams, the people we have in the companies. So everyone is welcome to answer. The second was what was this?
How hard to manage the company like yours?
Yeah.
Which is very cool.
How to manage the company, and third was I was asked to repeat. What was the third?
The third company about to grow.
So first, very quickly. So first, the biggest challenge we have that it's we have so many open positions and we don't find people as quickly as we want. That's clear challenge, very visible. The second question about managing the company is actually super easy. There is a global vision. It's very. I try to do my best to communicate that, not just communicate vision itself. It has to be visible through the actions which are made on a daily basis from any action I make. And teams, so they are working on kind of smaller parts, kind of their own small visions, which it's comes as a one sentence, and they are in charge to think about that for months and work on that, for a very long time. I mentioned like virality team, which solved the problem. I don't know. I have never heard about Vinted. There is another team which is working on the problem, which is I'm afraid to buy in Vinted. It's a very big problem, and you can think so many things about that and what you can solve. The other problem is like to, I don't know, simple one, but to release integrated payment solution, world class over all the markets we operate. That's kind of small visions each team has in mind, and they keep working with that for a very long time. And it's not something they switch all the time. So I just stick to that and go. And that's it. And the management, which actually I have to do, is like just to stick different visions to the teams or to pitch that, okay, now we have to work with this kind of problem or that kind of opportunity, and okay, here's going to be the team around that. And that's kind of management basically I do. What kind of, for example, recent idea was like to create a team which is going to solve the opportunity to unlock the potential of people working at Vinted. So I'm in that team, and there are 2 more people now. Engineer came, and and we are working to unlock the potential of people, and we are introducing that kind of open financials, common sense policies. So that's kind of job of our team, and yeah, it's all based like just giving small missions to everyone. Yeah, and the last question about the growth, actually, on the big scale, it looks like there was no growth, but actually it's due to the scale, because if you zoom in, it's exponential growth in any part of, part of the chart. It's just, that's the idea of exponential, because whenever you zoom in, it's exponential. So it was always growing. And, in first year we had like 5x growth, even though it's like from.
So people were never grow.
What I mean, like never a problem. So of course it's a problem because we kind of want to hire more of them. So yeah, it is a problem. But if you ask like, do people contribute to that kind of growth? So I can say yeah, clearly. And in my chart there was one point which was kind of breakthrough, literally, which increased our kind of growth dramatically, and that was the release of apps basically. And not people, so we couldn't make apps available, right? So and teams working, they always release new stuff, they always tested. New stuff is always tested, A/B tested, and you can see that there is effect. Now I don't know, the variety is like 2% higher. So okay, great team did a great job. The other team, like I don't know, like. It solved the problem of I'm afraid to buy, and now there is higher, like 2% higher conversion to, from new members to the first purchase in 1 week. So that's a great achievement. And everyone is like shipping that every 2 weeks, something. And that's how it goes. And just product gets literally better and better every day.
Okay.
First question?
Yeah, and then first question, what challenges do you face? Yeah.
Well, actually, the first challenge when we started launching the Wix office, nobody knew what is Wix. And when the first candidates came and I told them, guys, you have 5 steps, and they were like, what? In Lithuania, nobody's having like so many interviews, and it will take 1 month, like 2 weeks, 1 month. So it was the first challenge which I had, and I think it was as well for myself to convince the person that, come on, we are checking we are looking for the best people in the market. So I think it was the biggest challenge in the beginning.
Yeah, for us, the big challenge is hiring technical people. So you said 17% reply to advertisements, but 17% of zero. So basically, maybe not especially, but in the technology stack we work in, all the people are working on Adform, Barclays, Visma, all great companies, people are happy there, and something wrong might happen there, so they want to leave that place. So basically our like pool of candidates is really limited here, and it's a huge amount of work to hire someone from the technical side.
For me, running the accelerator, the most important problem or challenge is people, because we don't have anything else to sell. So we are insourcing our management, and the big kind of change was when Rocket Internet CTO joined us, and when Trustpilot sales representative joined us, and then we had a SEM specialist from Monique, their e-commerce retailer in the US. And that's really when the landscape changed, when you have so much talent that can execute and bring our startups to the same quality level of not only Lithuania and Baltic states, but to Europe and abroad. So it's a very limited experience for me, but so many people.
Such a lot of crew for microphone. So, and then again, we're also having the same issue of getting somebody who's who actually knows what we are talking about, because we're operating in a very specific environment, in a very specific environment of Microsoft VSTO. And frankly, from what I hear, perhaps there's not a single person in Lithuania who has a very good knowledge of this. As a matter of fact, there seems to be around 100 to maybe 200 people who have clear knowledge of this. 50% of them have developed the system, so it's the fun side of it.
We have a question there?
Yeah.
Yes.
So for Justas, you mentioned that only 15% of the people passed the homework assignment. So I have like 2 questions for it. One is it relevant to the job that they're gonna do, or is it like some random high school or college algorithm that you give and see how they can solve it? And do you do a false negative? Like, I mean, do you go back and check that, like, is this assignment really filtering the people that you actually don't want to hire?
Yeah, it's the test has been assembled. So I was when homework tasks. So let's speak about engineers, for example, and like back-end engineers, for example. So yeah, each homework task is kind of developed by people who they developed what they want to check, and they write kind of the full philosophy of what they want to say. So they say, okay, so use whatever code language you like. So we prefer like readability and simple code. You know, it's very important for us. Then use those style guides for that. So we do always testing, so write tests, you know. And then we prefer in our coding, we want to see, what else do you want to see? You know, your code has to run with one single bash line, okay, so break something, okay. And yeah, and then there is a problem, which is like simple computer science problem with graph theory, which is, doesn't matter on that. Well, you will have to do a little bit of recursion, you know, you will have several classes and so on. It's kind of relevant to that, and yeah, people develop, and then, you know, the homework is published publicly, everyone, then developers comment on GitHub saying, oh, this is good, this is not good, no, we never do this, why did he try this? Why does he test private methods? Like, why does he put so much code in one file? I have a bad feeling about him, and I was, yeah, me too. And then, okay, no, it's like based on feelings, like, I don't want to do that. So that's kind of, yeah, and what was it?
And second unrelated question, how many of the items that you're wearing right now are bought from Vinted?
0.
Good.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, it's more for girls, I guess, isn't it?
No, not for girls. I really focus 100% of my time like to make secondhand the first choice worldwide. I have so little clothing, so I cannot afford to sell anything. That's the problem. It's really true, and yeah, you know, and yeah, I buy 2 hoodies. I have 2 H&M very simple hoodies. So that's all I have.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I guess, Monica, we spoke before the presentation regarding the tasks for candidates, that you mentioned how many of, what percentage of your candidates pass the task, so maybe you can share as well.
Well, it's not nice to say me publicly.
Okay, so choice.
Yeah, but in general, we globally figure out that 10% of people pass the test. Like, well, 10% who come for the technical test are employed. It can be a technical test or technical interview or HR interview, but like in general, we have 10%. So, I don't know, 1 of 10 is lucky one.
But it all depends so much. For example, like if the candidate is kind of, you know, offered or suggested by someone in our company, and you know 3 more people vouch, then +1, it means that he passed the homework assignment immediately. But if he is not employed or got fired, so those people lose the right to vouch. So yeah, when you vouch, you have to really think about it.
Do you have one more
I
question?
have a question, like 2 weeks, you have so many levels, like when interviewing, and HR is at the end, so it means that they actually have to pass test and pass technical interview, and kind of feel like good because like you're passing, and then HR says no. Is it like
That happens. Actually, HR is more or less like, I couldn't say this psychology test, but it's personality test. And from our experience, we did it in the end because, well, because lots of personality things, like in general, the person, even for the developer, sometimes looks okay because they doesn't see that, but deeply. And our HR, they really practice on that much, and they have lots of training. And they did it and then because most of the time they pass. Like there's probability not big, so it will fail. So we left it at the end.
I want to add here. So we do this personality test like at the beginning because we think it's most important to have cultural fit, and that's done not by doing any formal test, just kind of conversation, sitting together for an hour.
It's not a test as well.
Yeah, sorry. So I don't want to. I just want to share, and then we just feel how do you feel during that conversation? You speak not about technology or something. Yeah, sometimes about technology, but about what do you do in your life? Like what's so, what things brings passion to you. You just try to basically feel that person. Yeah, and sometimes it fails very quickly. Like I remember one candidate I had like. It was interview like 15 minutes literally, so I just asked him to tell a little bit more about himself, and he gave like a monologue of 15 minutes how he was failing in his previous jobs, how everyone was super negative for him, how everyone was not so smart, and after that I said, well guy, thank you, that interview is finished.
And you did that in the beginning?
Yeah, in the beginning.
I have a similar story to share. So basically, I don't know why would you do this in the end. Maybe that's smart, but I had an interview with a guy who would probably pass all the technical stuff, but it was like the screening interview, which just like as Justa said, talking about the weather mostly. And at some point, I don't know how did it turn out, but he asked something like, "Do you mind if I yell at our colleagues?" So I'm so passionate about my code that if I don't like what someone else is doing, I yell at them. And I was like, okay, we are done here.
Just give blame.
In general, what we did, like that's why we give a technical to check the level, and then because like this HR is not a test, it's simply more or less. It takes sometimes even 2 or 3 hours. So the person to do this HR interview at the beginning, I think he would screw up.
We have one more question, and I guess, last one.
Thanks for the great presentations. It was really cool to hear all that. I wanted to ask about your experience with the test periods for somebody who you're having for, 3 months, 1 month. What do you prefer to do? Do you prefer to just put that person into your environment and kind of like observe what happens? Or do you intentionally push or like drop challenges on that person, or kind of guide them for them to like express their potential, or you just watch what happens?
Very good question.
Well, at weights, for example, sometimes I even don't notice when drill period finishes. It's no problem. But we don't push, especially this trail period. We are just let them to work. Because I think it's not nice would be from company to push the person more than...
not like pushy, but sort of like...
To give more
Do
challenges.
you have like an adaptation system, some kind of, or it's just natural?
It's natural.
Expectations or do something special?
No, it's
For
more...
them to shine, I don't know.
I think, for example, we have 3 months trail period. And it's a period when the person more or less shine. You don't need to give additional challenges. It's a time when you more or less have challenges at projects, and more or less the person starts shining this time without any additional push. Maybe.
No, we don't do nothing. We treat like he's working, and that's it. And he is working.
Doesn't have confidence.
Yeah, you shouldn't expect any special treatment because you should be expected actually to perform the way you would be performing in the future actually, because by the time the trial period ends, you're most likely going to do something quite different to actually what you began doing. That's the beauty of doing something new.
Yeah, we also don't do anything special. One good tradition that materialized when our office manager's trial period expired, she brought a cake the next day. So I love this tradition. So I never know when someone's trial period expires, but the next day I know it because there's a cake. So yeah, but we had one instance of someone leaving us because he wanted to leave after trial period, and one instance I mentioned that we had to part way from our side. So, but there is nothing special about trial period. It's basically, I think it's mostly regarding Lithuanian law that it's so troublesome to fire someone after the trial period, so everyone has it here because otherwise, if you don't, connect with the person, it's a nightmare here. So.
Kick after trial period says farewell on it, or.
So you missed the last chance to fire us.
Yes, we are involved in hiring more of senior positions or executive positions in startups, and for that sense, we are only monitoring their ownership perspective. So to see if you feel like owners, if they sit quietly somewhere in the corner, imitate working, or they are lost like a herd of sheep, somewhere hiding. So it's not acceptable. And we of course don't fire them in the same instant, but we try to talk to them. Why is it happening? And is it a problem that it was our bad decision to hire such a person without explaining that properly or feeling that he has a ownership perspective or not? But definitely we don't have a kind of monitoring or mentoring or psychologist competence in our startups. No.
Okay, thank you very much for all your time, and I hope everybody brings at least one idea or insight home. And thank you so much for your ideas, and have a good evening.
Thank you all for coming, and maybe let's thank one more time for our lovely discussants. That's a word. Bernardas, Justas, Monica, I really hope that you found this event useful and that you will keep some information and take it away with you, and you will apply it to your own business and ideas. I just really want to say one more time, you can stay tuned for all events in our webpage, which you can see on the screen. We also have Facebook page, and we also have, you can also subscribe our newsletter, which comes out every Tuesday. Yeah, approximately every month we have events like this, so just come and enjoy and listen and take all the knowledge that you can get here. Thank you one more time, everyone, and I hope you loved it. I did. And have a nice evening.